honey, you don't look well. You look like shit. Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer.
My God.
Happy 4th of July. May the Hookman spare you.
Oh, you sicken me. We know what you did.
We know.
We know. We still know.
And we'll continue to know.
Now that is what the new movie should have been called. I continue to know.
What you did last summer.
What you did last summer.
So there is going to be a reboot, requel, whatever, coming out on the 18th.
Okay.
I believe July 18th. We are doing this early because we're going to have an exciting 400th episode of Guide to the Unknown show on July 18th.
Yeah.
So this had to be retooled to earlier in the month.
Which, I love a serendipity.
Mm-hmm.
I love little accidents.
I know. Worked out great.
We had a little accident.
Well,
Kristen and I made a boom boom. Yeah. It turns out by needing to do this show earlier than the requel coming out, this episode's coming out on the 4th of July.
I know.
Which is when I Know What You Did Last Summer takes place.
It's perfect.
What is going on?
I was delighted.
The world is coming up. Chrissy and Willie.
Maybe not so much Chrissy, but certainly
okay?
I'm fine. Yeah. This is
I'm fine.
Yeah. I know. I was thrilled about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a delightful surprise.
Totally.
So we are going to be talking about especially the first two movies.
Yep.
I have some extra stuff that I took a peek into because this is, as many things are, and I always enjoy this, and I bit off more than I could chew this week. I like it when there's a franchise that 99% of people don't care about.
Right.
And don't know these other bits and pieces. I kind of go wait a minute, there's a third movie? No one really knows about that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, it's based on a book? No one ever really talks about that.
Yeah.
I get kind of a charge out of being it's like peeking behind a door that no one's opened in years.
Yeah, right.
And now I know.
Right.
Now I've learned a couple
and
of
now
things.
you still know.
Yeah.
And now you continue to know.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about the I Know universe.
Yeah.
After this commercial break.
So we have talked about the I Know universe once before in episode 11 of the Netherworld Dispatch, which is our Patreon podcast. We each watched a movie that the other wasn't interested in and tried to kind of sway each other.
We sort of assigned work to each other. So I had forced you to watch
Gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't like it.
No, I didn't. And you watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and you didn't like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that was years ago. That is a fun episode.
That was July 13th of 2020.
Wow.
So almost exactly 5 years ago.
That's
Close
wild.
to it.
You know what we did 5 summers ago?
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. Everyone go check out that episode. I actually feel like we did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to talk about it now 5 years later, especially given because now this new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie is coming in sort of the aftermath of this new resurgence of slashers, certainly in a post-Scream reboot world.
Yeah.
And so that gives it a whole new sort of palette of colors.
Right.
To me.
And actually, we watched the trailer for the new I Know What You Did Last Summer on the Netherworld Dispatch, sometime in the last, I don't know, month or so. I'm not sure when. I kind of forgot about that.
Am I an I Know What You Did Last Summer stan?
Yeah, I think that you are.
We've covered a lot of this.
Yeah, I think you definitely are. You went above and beyond for this, so I would have to say that you are.
I don't know if I would say above and beyond. I did less than I hoped to do.
Even so.
May I have a little Willie's Corner?
Yes.
Real quick, everybody.
Yes.
If you don't mind, I want to just give you folks out there, if you enjoy following the stuff that we do, I want to give you a couple of nudges to some fun stuff coming down the pike. Number one, The Trouble with Tessa, that show that I've been working on. I'm the head writer of it. It's coming out in a couple of weeks on July 15th on Screambox. The social media has a little story that's going to be rolling out. You know that I love ARGs and I took some inspo from a bunch of different places that may not shock all of you, but go follow The Trouble with Tessa on Instagram and you're going to start to see this story as it rolls out. Some people have already found the first one early, quite frankly, but it's been very exciting. And even some folks that are JD has already gotten involved in the story in a way that quite frankly, I did not anticipate, but loved.
Yeah, that's one of our listeners.
Yep. And so go check that out. Get into this sort of ARG. It's a light ARG story, but I really hope that people find it enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And also, I bought a table for the New Jersey HorrorCon, the NJ HorrorCon. So September 27th and 28th, please get it on your calendar if you're interested. It's going to be in Edison, New Jersey. I'm going to try to, for the first time in my life, be professional. I'm going to try to go both days and really be there and sell stuff and have stuff on hand. I'm going to have some Guide to the Unknown materials. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have some Survive the Night books. And I might have some other stuff if I can pull together some fun surprises. So please consider coming out to see me, and that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So September 27th and 28th, the NJ HorrorCon in Edison, New Jersey. Follow @The Myth Traveler for updates to all this stuff. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yep. That's all awesome.
Yeah, it's been a busy year, and I felt like if ever there was a year to try to get out there, it's probably this one. Mm-hmm. And I'll either learn that it was worthwhile, and maybe I'll continue to do that, and hopefully with you.
Sure.
That would be my real dream. Mm-hmm. Or I will learn that it was pointless.
Sure.
And I will never buy another table at a convention again.
It's all right.
We'll find out.
We have had a table at a convention together in the past.
We have.
It was fun.
It was fine. Yeah. I just, that was also years ago. It's like, maybe we're different people now. We'll see if this, can we get something more out of it or generate something more out of that experience? Yeah. I'm sure I'll come back with at least some stories.
Of course.
But I don't know. Does any of this actually add up to anything?
I don't know.
I don't know. So I'm going to give it another shot.
People do it, you know.
People do. Exactly. That was my thought. So people do it. Maybe I'll see if I can find some way to really make it do something for me. We'll see what happens. But thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. So, where do you want to begin? Because I can give you a fresh new beginning. If
well, you know what? You looked into the book a little bit.
Exactly.
What did you see?
So, had you ever read this book?
No.
All right. I Know What You Did Last Summer is a Lois Duncan book from 1973.
Yes.
Like, I'm so used to thinking of I Know What You Did Last Summer as being this sort of 90s slasher, certainly the post-Scream kind of like also ran slasher, and the fisherman with his hook, his hook hand, whatever you want to call it, and spoilers. Should we just go ahead and say spoilers?
For like everything.
For everything. I think let's just get that out of the way now, because I always think it's a little more fun to talk about this stuff.
I think that's probably true.
Unleashed. I'll say the bare premise. Mm-hmm. Like, a bunch of kids did something bad. Yeah. And then 1 year later, somebody's come back to get their revenge. Yeah. That is basically true for every single iteration. So if you're down with that, and the first movie was written by Kevin Williamson of Scream, so it's got a lot of that same sort of like voice to it. Do you recommend?
Yes.
You do recommend?
I sure do.
Do you recommend I Still Know What You Did Last Summer?
You know, you could do worse things.
Which takes place 1 year later, which is why it's I Still Know.
Right.
Which has to be one of the worst possible titles.
It's pretty bad, and everybody harps on this, but it is true. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
It's not last summer anymore.
2 summers later now.
Yeah, I Still Know What You Did 2 summers ago would be if you were trying to be accurate in your title.
Right.
It's not about still knowing, it's about further passage of time. Sure. Why would you have forgotten?
Of course.
Of course I still know.
It was a huge event.
Of course I still know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I didn't forget what you did 2 summers ago.
Yeah. Do I recommend that? I guess.
I'm shocked to hear you.
I suppose.
Struggle with it.
It's okay. It's not very good.
It is close to a So Bad It's Good movie.
Yeah.
It's close to, but it doesn't get there.
No, it's not quite that fun.
Which
but
leaves
it's okay to watch.
It's very, this is not kind. Mm-hmm. It's very junky.
Yeah, it is junky.
It's a real piece of crap.
Yeah. It's okay. It's good enough that I would say, I like to watch that every once in a while. Yeah. Not very often. It wasn't a struggle to watch or anything, but it's not great. I'm not surprised that I hadn't seen it in so long that I'd forgotten some things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's probably the best way to watch it. I give a week recommend to I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah. The first one.
Yeah.
Which I also think is not very good. I think it's very cheesy.
Yeah.
And then for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, I give it like it's like a guilty recommend. It's not even so bad. It's good. It's like, I don't feel good about myself, but I do think there's stuff in that movie where I'm like, You got to see Jack Black.
Oh my God.
You got to see Jack Black. And I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah.
It's huge. It's like inches off his head.
Yeah, he plays Titus. He's got dreadlocks. And he sells drugs on this island. You sent me the quote.
What is it? Hang on.
I got the...
Yeah, he's talking about the weed strains he has. And it is... I got the bat guano. He doesn't just say guano. He says, like, I got the bat guano. I got the cream jeans.
I got the cream jeans.
Crazy.
So Jack Blacky. I got the cream. No one wrote that.
No.
That wasn't in the script.
They did not write, I got the bat guano. I got the cream jeans.
No one put that in the script.
Jack Black said that.
Jack Black did that, and someone went, all right. Okay. At least someone's having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I begrudgingly recommend. It's like, it really is like making a mistake or something for me to say this. And I know it in the moment. I recommend I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I'm happy to hear that.
So now we're firmly into spoilers.
Yeah.
I think, and I'll talk about the book because that really is sort of where everything began.
Yeah.
So it's a 1973 novel. It's a fairly short book. Quite frankly, I kind of enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I really enjoyed it. It ends so abruptly, but it is, I had always heard. What do you know about the novel?
Like
Anything?
Nothing. That it's a thriller, that it's not like slashery where they're getting like picked off one by one, at least not in a gory way.
Right. Yeah, that's basically what I heard. I heard that like Kevin Williamson had to come in and like almost completely retool the story and totally change it to make it become a slasher. I feel like some of that is in the book. Some of that is like, there is somebody who's picking them off 1 year later, not killing them, but like coming back after all four of these characters who 1 year ago were in a hit and run.
Yeah.
And the person ostensibly died that they hit. And now 1 year later, this unknown person, it's kind of like a whodunit, is now coming back to get revenge and attack them one by one, especially by sending scary letters.
So what's he doing to them if he's not killing them?
It's kind of gnarly. It's kind of gnarly. In the movie, Ryan Phillippe plays Barry, who is so overbearingly awful.
He's the worst. Barry needed to die.
Yeah.
In general, that's somebody who could not grow up and do more harm.
Yeah.
If it had to be at the hands of the Hookman, so be it. But Barry could not grow up.
I totally agree.
Raining terror down upon anybody who interacted with him.
Yeah, he's like choking Jennifer Love Hewitt to get her to agree that we're not going to tell anyone that we hit this guy.
Oh, he's screaming all the time. He's aggressive. He's not good.
So he's similarly aggressive in the book. He's not as like Barry in the movie really feels like he's on a path to becoming a serial killer himself. Like he seems crazy and unhinged.
Yeah.
In the book, he's just like a really selfish bro. Like he's still dating Helen, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, but he looks at her as like a means to an end.
Yeah.
And the entire book, he's like, I'm going to dump her. But then he gets attacked. Here's his attack. Now, in the movie, he gets hit by a car and like slammed through a wall. And like, it looks like he's dead on the spot. And he doesn't die. Then he like ends up in the hospital. Similarly, he gets attacked here and survives, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
He gets a mysterious phone call. No one knows who called him, but it makes him leave his dorm, he's in college, and go out into the football field in the middle of the night. But it's 4th of July time, so people are setting off fireworks. And so I have this this little quote here that I enjoy. A flashlight suddenly went on right in front of him, the beam directed straight into his face. Hey, what the hell? He raised his hands to protect his eyes. There was enough noise from the fireworks so that he would not have known that the next sound was a gunshot, except he felt the bullet tear through his stomach and into his spine.
Oh.
So he gets shot right in the stomach. So no fisherman with the fish hook iconography here. It's just a person in the shadows who just shoots him.
Right.
Which is so abrupt, but also very violent.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't really expect it.
Yikes.
He does survive this.
Okay.
But then his story becomes this confusing thing where it's like, he's in the hospital and he's survived, but he tells everybody that it was Helen that called him on the phone. Tells everyone it was Sarah Michelle Gellar. And so everyone's like, she lured him out to the football field to be shot?
Yeah.
And so now the characters start to suspect Helen.
Why did he do that?
Because he's a liar. So here's what happens in the book that is very different from the movie. In the book, these four kids, I'm just going to use the actors' names.
Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Ryan Phillippe. They are still joyriding in a car.
Yeah.
But now it's literally like I think Ryan Phillippe is driving Freddie Prinze Jr.'s car, which is the reverse.
Okay, yeah.
From the movie, and hits a kid on a bike and kills the kid.
Oof.
Which is way
God.
Like in the movie, they change it to an adult man.
Yes.
Which is far more palatable.
Yeah, definitely.
And the kid dies. So they kill this kid.
Oof.
And keep it a secret for a year until now this masked guy is coming back. So everyone starts getting notes. Like Jennifer Love Hewitt gets a note in the book.
Yeah.
Her character in the book. Jennifer Love Hewitt is the star of this book.
Yes.
She gets the "I know what you did last summer" note, and Sarah Michelle Gellar gets a similar like news clipping thing of the accident, and Ryan Phillippe's basically like, "You're all crazy." Like, so what? Like, these things could mean anything. It doesn't mean that somebody's attacking us for 1 year ago.
Right.
What are you going to do? Break our pact and tell the police? You're going to ruin our lives, whatever. And so when he gets a phone call and it's somebody saying, "I know what you did last summer. I know that you hit that kid. Come out to the football field and tell me."
Is he just in such denial that anything could be happening that
I guess so.
he thinks it's Helen messing with him or something?
No, he definitely knows it's not Helen messing with him.
Okay.
But he told his family it was Helen because he couldn't admit that somebody on the phone had accused him of doing something a year ago.
Okay, I see.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
It's a bit of a contrivance because he also sort of like lies to the rest of the group just to be like, "See, it's not a big deal." Meanwhile, he did get shot.
Right.
But it does make a sort of sense. If you can't tell people you did something a year ago that somebody wants revenge for, then even the threatening phone call you received that led you to get shot, you can't tell the truth about.
Right.
It was interesting. It was like one lie sort of creates this whole web of lies.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed that angle of it.
Yeah.
The book is so weird, though, because the version that I read is not the 1973 original.
Oh.
It turns out that for some reason in the year 2010, they released a new edition of the book, updating the events of the story from 1973 to the 2010s. So all of a sudden, characters have cell phones.
Yes.
But it smacks of a story. Now, I didn't look into this, and perhaps I should have. I don't know if Lois Duncan made the updates herself. I don't know if she was alive.
Yeah.
It feels like it was written by somebody who doesn't know how to write anything today.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Helen, who, is like a local celebrity kind of type. She says at one point, "I'm getting a call from the studio." She says, "I've got a webcast to do in a couple of minutes." Right? Like, it's just like,
yeah, right.
What? A webcast?
Right.
We're webcasting.
And what studio is calling you to arrange this or whatever?
Well, also in the car right after they hit the kid, Ray, it says it was a whole 10 minutes before he punched in 911. "There's been an accident," he said frantically, "on Mountain Road, south of Silver Springs, just above the junction with 301. We hit a kid on a bicycle." "Who's making this call?" the voice of the emergency operator asked. "My name is..." Ray began. "Don't say anything more," shouted Barry, and Ray, obeying his instinct, hit the off button.
Okay.
He hit the off button. He didn't hang up. He hit the off button on his phone.
I don't mind that.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But my thing would also be that, now I don't know this, but in the 1973 original, maybe they did that from a payphone.
Right. Yeah.
Here, he's literally in the car holding a cell phone.
Yes.
But in 2010, whoever wrote this update didn't consider the fact that 1,000,000% in 2010, if you make a 911 call from your cell phone, they know who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
That's true.
It doesn't make. Why'd they bother?
I don't know.
Why'd they do this? Or if you're going to update
I've
your book,
heard of this kind of thing before.
I don't get it, man.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
I would just as soon tell kids like you're reading a story from a different era.
Absolutely.
Or if for some reason you're going to do this, hopefully it's the original writer, but hopefully they also have an editor that can make it make more sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Stand up to more scrutiny than this.
Yeah, this doesn't seem ideal.
Yeah, and then they sort of drop it from here. I don't remember them constantly talking about using the web for the rest of the book.
The net.
Yeah.
Weird.
It is weird. But so it all does turn out that, and I enjoyed this, the bad guy is different in the book too. The bad guy in the book is the half brother of the kid who was hit.
Okay.
And he has inserted himself into everyone's life.
Oh, okay.
In the intervening year,
yeah,
basically. So And you can tell who it is. It's not much of a whodunit. Like if you've got like half a brain reading the book, like if you're not reading it half asleep,
right?
You'll be like, oh, this guy's acting weird.
Yeah,
I bet he's the bad guy, and he totally is. So again, we're in spoilers. There's a guy who suddenly moves into the same apartment building as Sarah Michelle Gellar, and very much inserts himself into her life.
Okay,
he's like, I'll drive you there. It's
yeah.
like, excuse me, man, I met yesterday. You don't need to drive me anywhere.
Yeah, suddenly this dude's just like very in the mix.
Thank you. And it turns out he also, under a different name, has been dating Halle Berry. What's her name? Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay, yeah.
I almost said Haley Joel Osment.
I'd be interested in seeing that movie.
I would watch that movie.
Yeah.
But so he has been dating Jennifer Love Hewitt under the name Bud, which is the nickname his younger brother had called him by. Okay. But his name is Collingsworth.
His name is his
actual name is Collingsworth, and so
his first one.
Yes.
My God.
Sarah Michelle Gellar knows him as Collie.
Okay.
But so it's very fun when he finally drops the mask.
Yeah.
Now, not that he was being so seamlessly chill before, but this is pretty interesting. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, everyone's got all this baggage.
Yeah.
All these kids, because they did something a year ago. Now they're being harassed. So everyone's sort of in their own heads. And so at a certain point toward the end of the book, Collie says something about his own life that Sarah Michelle Gellar's like, I didn't know that. And he goes, you don't realize a lot of things. Collie said quietly, you don't know what I do when I'm not with you, or where I come from, or what I'm interested in, or what I think about, or what courses I'm planning to take this summer. You don't know where I've worked, how I live, or the people that I care about. You haven't been interested enough to ask. Everything we've ever talked about since the day we met has been you.
Yeah.
Isn't that scary?
No, that is scary.
And she doesn't know it. This doesn't tip her off. But that is so scary because that is the way I read it.
Simmering rage
was somebody essentially saying, not only are you selfish, I'm anonymous.
Yeah.
And you are so self-involved that you're not aware you're dealing with somebody who you don't know the first thing about.
Yeah.
And I found that scary.
No, that's freaky.
When he finally does fully drop the mask, this is a bit later, he goes, don't interrupt. I know what you told me. The thing is that I'm going to do something interesting to my date tonight.
Ooh,
I'm going to kill her. That's the reveal that he's the bad guy.
That's scary.
It's really fun. It's really well written. It does culminate abruptly. He does go over to Jennifer Love Hewitt's house and choke her. But then she blacks out, and when she wakes up, Ray is there, Freddie Prinze Jr. And he's like, I hit him on the head with a flashlight. It's not what the good guys do in the movies, but it worked. And then the police come, and then the book ends.
Oh, okay.
It just ends.
Huh. All right.
Is he dead from a hit on the head with a flashlight, or I don't know.
That's weird. They don't even tell you like what became of the guy?
Or do they admit what happened a year ago? Or no, nothing.
Oh,
it just ends.
That seems unsatisfying.
It was very unsatisfying, especially for having enjoyed sort of the story the whole way. I was very surprised by the ending, that it just kind of finishes being written. It was like she ran out of paper.
Bummer.
I know. It was kind of a bummer, but it was interesting. It was interesting because I could also see in the DNA of this how you do turn it into a slasher.
Right.
Because it still does remain this quartet of characters, self-involved characters, who did something bad, hit a guy on the road.
Yeah.
Albeit now there's a witness who was there that night, which is a great ad.
Right.
Like I can see, it's fascinating to have read the original and then see what Kevin Williamson wove it into to turn it into a sort of more 90s slasher. It was kind of fascinating and very organic. Like I could see every thought process that got to that script. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So did you read anything about Lois Duncan and what she thought about the movie and everything?
No.
She hated it.
Did she?
Yes. She was very upset at how like violent and gory and everything it was. And when she signed over the rights, she signed over like all creative control, all of that.
That sucks.
And she was like super vocal about how much she hated it when it came out. There were all these news articles about it. She said, they optioned my story, not my soul. There's no way I want to be part of desensitizing kids to violence and turning murder into a game to see who can scream the loudest. And she also said, as the mother of a murdered child, I didn't find violent death something to squeal and giggle about.
Oh my God.
Because years after she wrote the book, her daughter was killed while driving in her hometown in New Mexico in 1989. She was 18 years old and she was shot and killed just seemingly randomly.
Oh my God.
It's never been solved. You can look it up online. And so she may have, a new sensitivity around it or something, but was like super, super bothered by the movie.
That makes sense.
And so there was kind of like a big brouhaha around it in the press. And at the time, the Mandalay Entertainment president or marketing president, John Jacobs, said, quote, "It's a sad story, and I think it would be inhuman and insensitive not to have some compassion for that. But the truth is, it was not a fact that was well known to anyone involved in the movie making process regarding her daughter's murder."
Yeah, right.
And probably in response to she's upset about this, and given her family history, how do you feel about the fact that you made like a slasher movie out of her book or something like that?
Right.
So I don't know, pretty interesting. So
that
she
is very interesting.
She they had invited her to, visit the set and everything. And as soon as she got the script and read it, she didn't visit the set or attend the premiere or anything because she was super bothered by it.
Interesting. That's got to suck.
That does suck.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know that at all. Mm-hmm. I think even when you were just like, she signed away everything, including any like creative rights or whatever. Cause that's I think it's interesting when a movie is actually a franchise that no one pays attention to many of the releases of it or something. Mm-hmm. Like how we've covered Blair Witch extensively, right? Like I like that there's this this whole world of stuff, but very few know about it. Mm-hmm. It sucks, though, to have been the creator of that thing that then just gets away from you.
Oh, totally.
And especially, like, her daughter was killed, and now it's become a slasher franchise. Now, nothing that I've seen feels like... I mean, the movie...
I think that people point to the fact that she was killed in a car, and this movie kicks off with like a car accident sort of thing.
Which is true to the book, though. Like if it were changed and then had some darker parallel, I'd be far more disturbed. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I that is awful.
I know.
Oh, you know what though?
What?
You know what though? In the movie, the entire backstories, or maybe you were already alluding to this, but I hadn't thought of it in this terms, because the mystery of like who they hit and everything is a little more complicated in the movie. So it's that they hit a guy, and now 1 year later he's getting revenge, but they are under the mistaken impression that the guy they hit was a young man,
right?
Who even 1 year prior to that, see, it's like too complicated.
It is complicated. Yes.
Yeah, but he had been out with his girlfriend and crashed, and in that crash, she died.
Right.
So 1 year following those events,
true.
Bad guy Ben Willis killed him, the young man, and got hit by the car that our four, teenagers were driving. Yeah. So there is a young woman who is killed in a car in the deep backstory. There
is, but even that, yes, that is true, but it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah. I know, but you can't begrudge how Lois Duncan would feel at all about her creation being sort of used beyond her taste.
Yeah, of course.
And input and pay. But it does feel like I don't get a whiff that people were making the stories with any sort of malicious parallel or something.
No,
either.
Definitely not. I mean,
it's
this
just
was
a shitty situation.
This is during like a 90s slasher boom.
Right,
and there was like a cool source material that they used and kind of like embellished on.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that the person who wrote the source material didn't like it and had a sensitivity toward that kind of violence. And it's just kind of...
Is there a reasonable issue to take with slashers desensitizing people? It's probably a heavier conversation than anyone anticipated for I Know What You Did Last Summer, but...
I think possibly... Yeah, I think there's like a little conflict there.
I would argue 99% of people who watch scary stories don't go kill people.
Oh, absolutely.
And that the affected folks who decide to commit a murder would probably find something to fixate on regardless.
Yes. Yeah,
You know what I
totally.
mean?
But no, I do think there is something really weird about the fact that we all have this as entertainment.
Who's that lady, Candid Camera? What's her name? Candace Cameron. Candid.
What are you trying to get at? And it'll probably help me.
That lady from the Hallmark movies who's like ultra.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is Candace Cameron, right? Yeah.
Candace Cameron. She recently, I saw a headline that she was like, horror movies are a portal.
Yes, yes.
I don't let anyone watch scary stories in my house because they're a portal to the devil. You mean the TV like is a window into looking at a scary story, or the scary story itself is a portal to a devil, a demon?
You're inviting in like demonic activity in your life by watching things like that. Yeah.
I think there are just as many good upstanding citizens who don't engage in horror movies that go out and kill and do evil shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I bristle against that kind of thing, that like movies and stories create psychos. Movies don't create psychos.
Of course.
The rest of that quote is kind of damning to my argument. Movies make psychos more creative. Yeah. That's pretty,
Yeah, no, I don't think many people make that argument.
No, it's the fringe, but you can't fault Lois Duncan for feeling the way she felt.
Of course not.
As much as you just tried to.
I don't think so.
You're horrible.
No, never. I thought it was interesting to know that in the Venn diagram of teen 90s slashers, she also intersects with Scream in another way besides Kevin Williamson writing this movie, because in 1978, Wes Craven directed a TV movie called Summer of Fear based on another one of Lois Duncan's books starring Linda Blair.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Here is the IMDb description. It is that a teenage girl's life is turned upside down after her cousin moves into her house, and as time goes by, she begins to suspect she may be a practitioner of witchcraft.
Oh my! I'm into that.
Sweet.
That does sound sweet. What's that? Summer of Fear?
Yep.
Lois Duncan likes the summer.
Yeah, she likes the summer. She likes fear.
Summertime. And the living
scary.
Scary.
Frightening.
So the first movie now, it's 2025. We're a little bit older and wiser. What are your opinions of this movie? What stood out to you this time, at least?
I think it's a fine movie.
A romp?
Yeah, I do. I find it to be a romp. What stood out? I've seen it like a ton of times. I really enjoy it. Let's see. Definitely Barry being a huge jackass stood out this time. I was like, this guy is absolutely the worst.
He really seems like he's on a path to being like a killer or something, or an abuser. Abuser.
An abuser. Yeah.
An abuser. I've never heard that pronunciation. It came out of my face. Here's what I wrote down about the cast. Especially in this cold open where we like meet everybody before things go wrong, like the fateful day where tonight they will have the hit and run.
Yes.
So this is the only time you get to see them as the people they were before the accident, and I hate them.
Yeah, no,
I hate them
awful.
all. I hate them all.
Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, I wrote, so giggly.
Oh, I know.
She's like chumming around with Ryan Phillippe and Freddie Prinze Jr. and be like, boys.
Yeah, totally.
And like putting her arms around them. It's like the worst sitcom cheese. Talk about a Hallmark movie. She's horrible.
No, she's so annoying.
She's the problem with these movies.
Oh, I disagree. She's annoying but fun. I find it annoying when they're all buds together and she's like, I'm just one of the guys. I can't take any more of your sexist rhetorics or whatever. I'm like, all right. I agree with the sentiment or whatever, but you know.
Yeah. Freddie Prinze Jr. I just wrote, so dopey.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like this the whole time. What?
Yes.
What? Jennifer Love Hewitt? What? I wrote, he looks like Derek Zoolander. Same vacant expression and hair.
Yep.
Just kind of empty. And James from Twin Peaks.
Yes, totally. Actually, Brett Manning shared a meme of Zoolander and James from Twin Peaks being compared recently.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me, but that's very true. And Transitive Property, yeah, absolutely.
It's just like, these are our characters? These are our heroes?
Yeah.
Someone who's so like, boys. And then, but I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on ever.
Right.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, I thought the word I wrote down, solid.
Oh, I'm about to say, she's the best one.
She's the best of the four.
Yeah,
she's
wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
She's great. And Johnny Galecki.
Oh, I know.
As Max.
I know. I wish that he absolutely kicked Ryan Phillippe's ass.
So do I.
I wish when Ryan Phillippe pushed him for no reason, called him chum bait, that Ryan Galecki just whooped on him.
Yeah, just like went completely unhinged.
Yeah, totally.
I think he's an amazing red herring.
Yes, he's
like
wonderful.
he drives by that night when they hit the guy and is like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
And it's like aggressive and weird. And then 1 year later, it's like, did he put the pieces together? Did he figure it out? Is he the one sending the notes? Whatever. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
They're all annoying, aside from Helen. I like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Nothing annoying.
But I really do think Jennifer Love Hewitt is pretty unbearable for me.
Okay. I definitely get it. I find her annoying, but like, I guess it is a kind of classic love to hate kind of thing.
I get that. In the second one, it's like this ego show that I can't.
Oh, I know. That's wild.
It demands its own conversation.
Yeah, they definitely wrote in some things about how like her singing has to be in there. She's
barf.
She was at like peak fame at that point.
Yeah. Something that I was interested in watching it this time. I love that like Kevin Williamson, like this came out the same year as Scream 2. So it's like in a year, I think that everyone was just like, he wrote Scream. He's awesome. Have him write this.
Yeah, he was hot to trot.
And so he turned the Lois Duncan novel into this now urban legend thing of like a hit and run and the hook hand killer who's going to come get them. It's because the kids are all on the beach talking about urban legends, which I love.
Yeah.
But then I was like, is it weird and too convenient? And I have an answer for it, but is it too convenient that like they're talking about a hook hand killer and then a hook hand killer comes to get them?
Yeah.
But it actually adds up. And I was very impressed by this. So Barry says after they hit the guy and they think he's dead in the hit and run, they're like, he could have a family. He could be whatever. And Barry shouts out, he goes, let's just pretend that this guy is like a hook hand killer guy and we just did the world a service.
Right.
And because that man is not dead, he is still alive.
Yep.
He probably just heard Barry say this man is a hook hand killer and therefore made it his thing to come back as the hook hand killer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And then also, I thought this was interesting. This is just a line that I like. When Barry is like menacing everyone into keeping the secret, he goes, this didn't happen. We're not telling the police, quote, this is now a future therapy bill.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, now we're getting into this sort of like entitled rich kids in this fishing community thing. There's this weird class thing that's going on because Ray can't afford a future therapy bill. Ray's like fisherman boy.
Right.
But Ryan Phillippe and Sarah Michelle Gellar, who have the money of this, like probably live here for the ambiance.
Yeah, right.
Not for like the, working with your hands quality.
Yeah.
Barry is already setting himself for a life where they have so much wealth that it's just like, I'll talk about any murders that I committed in therapy.
Yeah.
So I like that. And it seems like the new movie will get into also these like popped collar polo shirt kids, like little rich turds living in this community. And I don't quite like that, but I like the fishing community vibe.
Yeah, I do too.
And I do like the idea of these like little like yuppie scum kids. Yeah. Who are dealing with firsthand madness.
Right, getting their comeuppance.
Yeah.
So Kevin Williamson, I guess, grew up in a fishing community like this, and he has a show out right now on Netflix called The Waterfront.
Yeah.
That's like about that, but then also kind of like Ozarks or whatever.
Yes, I've been kind of interested to check it out.
Me too, only kind of.
Yeah, I like Kevin Williamson. I'm interested to see what their show is like. It's got one of the folks from Mindhunter in it, who I like quite a bit.
Yep.
And so
like Colt McElhenney or something. I don't think that's actually his name, but I think it's close.
Connor McCluskey.
Yeah.
I was originally writing down all the kills in the movie, but there's not a lot of killing. So I changed it to
it's not that gory.
No.
This movie. I watched a behind the scenes thing about it on YouTube, and they were talking about how the like, I don't know, blood guys or special effects guys or whatever that they hired said that it was like the least amount of blood that they'd had to use on a movie in a long time.
Yeah, there's really not much. So I ended up changing my kills section to fisherman flip outs.
Ooh.
Because
very nice.
A lot of people survive.
Yeah.
Although the first kill is a kill. He doesn't survive. Max, the red herring, Johnny Galecki, gets a hook through the chin and is then pulled over this table. That's pretty gnarly.
I know. They said they did that on purpose because there hadn't been any like kills for a while besides just like, the initial kill of the guy in the car, and they want it to be shocking. I found it kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Even on this watch. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's very abrupt.
Yeah.
And a hook through the bottom of your chin, like under your jaw, whatever this
awful.
soft, like right under your tongue.
Yeah.
Like it's like getting... It's like what must happen to a fish a little bit, right? Like
I think so.
He got hooked by the fisherman.
Yeah.
Then Ryan Phillippe, as we said, gets hit by a car and smashed through a wall.
Yeah.
And they fade to black on that, and they let him live. And I was like, why let him live? And then I read the book. He lives in the book through his first attack.
Right.
I do think that there's a little more of like the book structure here. It's just been sort of adapted into his slasher mode. I wrote, the fisherman goes bananas on Buffy's blondes. Blondies?
Yes.
What did I write? He goes bananas
because
on
he cut
Buffy's
her hair.
blondies.
Because he cut her hair.
I guess I was feeling clever when I wrote that.
Having a bit of fun.
I guess. It is described later. I think Barry says this or someone says this. They go, he made coleslaw.
It's Julie.
It was Julie. Oh, it's Julie James. It's Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yep.
He made coleslaw on Helen's head.
Yeah.
What?
He chopped it up.
He made coleslaw on her head?
Yeah.
That's how you describe someone cutting someone's hair poorly?
Totally.
You cut my hair. You really made coleslaw on my head.
I made coleslaw out of your head.
That's a crazy thing to say.
It is.
Now, if someone's going to go make coleslaw on your head, and it's Sarah Michelle Gellar, who's like the beauty queen and local fame, whatever.
Right.
Shouldn't she come out the other side looking real choppy and messed up?
Yes, absolutely. And she looks great.
What's the point?
Also, she does this thing that happens in movies a lot when somebody gets like a bad haircut or whatever, where our first scene with her after her, coleslaw haircut is she's wearing like a weird little hat and she has her hair all pulled back. That only draws attention to your head and makes it look even smaller.
Yeah, I better put this mushroom cap on top of my head.
It must make myself look different than I ever look ever.
You're right.
You should just own the fact that you got a haircut.
Yeah.
You just look stranger.
She should have come out the other side looking more like Anne Heche.
Yeah.
Who in this movie has that like short haircut.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
More fishermen flip outs the crustaceans in Julie's trunk.
Yep, classic.
They throw Max's body in there and cover it with crabs, and there's like even a crab in his mouth.
And they get it all out so fast. She runs into Helen's house to get Helen and Barry because she just saw all of this in her car outside. By the time they get outside, clean as a whistle. I would love if they came and did that in the trunk of my car.
Totally. Yeah, you could eat a dinner off of that trunk.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Yeah, not even a crab dinner.
No, any dinner.
Any dinner you want.
Coleslaw and crab, maybe.
Whatever you'd like. Coleslaw and crab. It is terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Of course.
It doesn't hold up to any form of scrutiny that you might want to apply.
No, it would drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Helen believes Julie, even though Barry's like, oh, she's probably flipped her lid or whatever.
You would think she flipped her lid. She saw a body covered in crabs in her trunk, and now there's no sign. It would smell like crabs.
That's true. It would definitely smell like crabs.
You should have gone, wait a minute, I think I have a hint of crab.
Yeah, there would be a telltale whiff.
Yeah. Barry finally gets killed in the balcony during Sarah Michelle Gellar's little beauty pageant thing, which I just
the
think
Croker
about,
Festival.
Just think about Scary Movie.
Yeah.
There's so much Scary Movie here.
Oh,
when
I know.
he's like boxing at the gym or whatever, then he gets a little note in his locker and says, I know. I can't not think of Scary Movie where it's
It's so much better in Scary
where it's
Movie.
a tiny wiener in the picture and just says, I know.
Yep.
What? Who did this? It's Lachlan Monroe flipping out.
It's so good.
Oh, it's so funny. Scary Movie sort of ruined this movie.
I think that they complement each other nicely.
Okay.
They're just like salt and pepper.
Fair enough. There is a cleaning motif, but it's also a very screamy thing.
A cleaning motif.
Yeah, because the killer also cleans up after Barry getting killed up in the balcony.
Okay,
And no one knows that happened.
Right.
And then Sarah Michelle Gellar's in the back of a cop car, which also happened in Scream 2 that same year.
Yes, I know. Yep.
As the cop goes to investigate, like the fisherman.
I know.
The fisherman kills the cop and then wipes the blood off his hook, which is very Ghostface.
Yep.
And I was like, what happened?
What's
in
going
this
on
scene?
here?
Did Kevin Williamson spill his pages?
Yeah.
Like some pages from Scream 2 ended up in the middle of this movie. It's like the same thing.
I know. know.
It was fun. And then there's a fun chase with Sarah Michelle Gellar, during which her sister Elsa also gets killed.
Yep. That whole chase is so good. She is going through hell, though. That is the worst because nobody's believing her during that entire thing. She sees Barry killed up in the balcony. She's like, oh my God, he was killed. Then they go up there. It's all cleaned up. She's telling the cop, like, oh, behind you. He's like, oh, whatever. Then he gets killed. She like runs up to her family store to get her sister to let her in. And her sister has no urgency. Just no one is believing her that there is a killer about. That must have been driving her nuts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
While she's running from the killer, just no one's taking her seriously.
It's particularly crazy to me.
Horrible way to go.
When she's screaming that Barry's getting killed, like 50 men pop up out of the audience and grab her and hold on to her, being like, no, stay right here. Don't, what? Quiet down. You're acting crazy, young lady. It's like,
the worst.
Do we need 20 men to do this?
Right.
First of all, it's like a mob.
Maybe one of you could go investigate.
Could one person go?
You idiots.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. That whole sequence is awesome, though.
Yeah, it is pretty
I think
good.
her
enjoy
whole
it.
like fight/killing sequence is awesome.
I like it when she's walking through the little department store and all the mannequins are covered in tarps.
Yep.
And one of them is the fisherman.
Yeah.
It was like kind of fun. I liked it.
Yeah, they apparently like rewrote some of that scene because they found that store and the director was like, this store is awesome. What the hell's going on in here?
Cool.
And there was like a weird kind of like dumbwaiter thing that she goes up and they were like, we need to use this.
Nice.
And they just made it super extended because they kind of wanted you to think like, all right, she can't go through all of this and then die.
Right.
But then she does go through all of that and then die.
Yeah, it is very enjoyable. I like it.
The
It's a
band,
good chase.
the
Marching
parade is
band.
going by right there. She's so close, but then he gets her in all those tires with the fireworks going off. I think it's so good.
That parade's been going on for quite a long time though, because she's originally sitting on a float in the parade,
daytime.
and the fisherman's watching her from on top of a building.
Yep, shows his hook.
And then look at this.
What do you think about this?
See this? This will be.
It's coming for you.
You'll see it again.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
And then it's nighttime when the parade is still happening and she's killld.
Long parade.
A lot of enjoyable old men.
Yes, I felt terrible for that old man that Ryan Phillippe tackled. He was so scared.
Yeah, Ryan Phillippe is like Helen's basically like a fisherman there, and Ryan Phillippe goes aggro and attacks this fisherman and knocks him down. And when he pulls the hat off, it's an old man who's going.
He's blinking. It's horrible.
I had a slightly different diet. I would just be like, "Wow, sir, I know I knocked you down."
No, William. He was in hot pursuit and then knocked him down hard.
He did. I don't know.
That was scary.
I still felt that old man actor was slightly overacting to a degree where I would just kind of be like, why aren't you making any sound? It was like, like they said, like extras,
so
like if you talk, you have to get paid or something. So a lot of extras don't have lines or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like they took that to such an extent that old man couldn't even go, He doesn't make a sound. He just has his eyes squinted and he's going, ooh.
He's so terrified. His voice is just trapped in his body, like when you're having a dream where you're unable to scream.
But he was awake.
He was this terrified.
I found him a little scary.
He made me sad. I was like, look at this poor man.
I know.
He's like 90 years old.
Yeah, he was like 500 years old.
Yeah.
Still fishing in this community.
He couldn't take it.
Do you have anything? Do you want to talk about? I mean, what before we just get to the end of this movie, because we do have a whole other movie to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we should take a break real quick because I do have more to say.
I know, and then we'll finish this movie and get into. I still know.
Yes,
good God,
of course. All right, first we must make sure that you know about Patreon.com/GTTUpod. This is where you can go to get more of the show. We actually have a whole second weekly podcast called The Netherworld Dispatch that comes out every Monday. We have a bunch of different tiers. You can take a look, see which one works for you. If you join the Demon tier, which is our most popular tier by far, that's the one where you get every single episode of The Netherworld Dispatch. You can also get access to our Discord, which is like a cool chat room that is popping every single day.
It's lovely.
It's awesome. Will just retooled it and put cool icons, emojis on all of the channels and everything.
Yeah, a little pop of color.
Great. Yeah.
A little renewed structure.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Gave it a makeover. We also have movie commentaries, a newsletter, all kinds of stuff. So please go check out the Patreon. We really appreciate it. It supports us in a huge way.
Oh,
and
yes.
we are so grateful to everybody who does that already. So thank you.
Thank you all very, very much. The most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch is episode 220. Inhumans. We started out watching Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
And as sometimes happens, that turned into this gateway into a larger world. We watched an Unsolved Mysteries about like a cult leader with a lot of mysterious deaths around her.
Yeah, Scary Terry.
But Scary Terry. But then that became Kristen. Kristen eventually started talking about America's Most Wanted and how for a period of time they would bring out a Grand Theft Auto like digital version of the criminals.
Yeah, they called it a 3D avatar.
Oh.
So it would stand next to the host at the time, Elizabeth Vargas, and she'd be like, "So this is who we're looking for." But it like looked terrible.
It was so weird. It was like some 21st century Roger Rabbit of a human standing next to a digital criminal. It was so weird. Yeah. Go check that out. That's episode 220 of the Netherworld Dispatch, which you can access, as Chrissy said, through patreon.com/GTTUpod. I've got a lovely review for us as well this week that comes to us from GB Topolina.
Ooh.
When I tell you,
already,
this name was so lyrical to me.
Oh, yeah.
I was like walking around my house going, GB Topolina.
GB Topolina. GB Topolina.
GB Topolina says, this show, Kristen, is G tier.
Ooh.
I think that means good tier.
I love that.
Or perhaps God tier.
Excellent.
I love Kraos. And they put in parentheses, pronounced the way Will says it sometimes,
Kraos.
like between his teeth, like Kraos.
That's awesome.
I love Kraos and Willie so much. I wait 1 to 2 weeks to listen to their episodes so that I always have a little backlog in case of emergencies. Now that's a structure. I like a process.
That's sweet.
Such an emergency happened on a recent trip where I was unfortunately up to date. So I listened to the whole of Book Club Schmuck Club.
Ooh.
That's our previous podcast.
Yeah.
Where we reviewed books every week. We stopped doing that. Although I did review a book at the top of this show.
True. That's
weird.
true.
And I waited for them to upload a new episode. Then I enjoyed them even more after that.
Ooh, very good.
Truly a top tier podcast. Wahoo. 5 stars. GB Topolina.
Thank you so much, GB Topolina. You had to break the glass and go for the emergency thing with Book Club Schmuck Club.
Hell yeah. Who listens to Book Club Schmuck Club in 2025?
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. That's so awesome. GB Topolina.
Imagine a conga line. Anyway, if you like GB Topolina, have it in you to write a review. We might read it on a future episode of the show. You can leave a written review like that on Apple Podcasts. There are also stars on Spotify. You can add up to 5 stars, preferably the 5.
Yes, please.
I'm
not interested in any less, frankly.
I think you've said this before. But it doesn't make sense to me. I think Spotify has a comments section under each episode.
Yes.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't get notifications. Maybe no one does it, but that exists.
We have gotten comments, and they were not nice.
Oh.
It was like a long time ago. But I'm aware that they are there.
There's a note that just said, "I know."
Yeah, I really don't remember, but I remember being like, I don't belong in here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, please leave kind stuff for us.
Yeah,
we love that.
great.
Love that.
Yeah.
Not that you can't be constructive, but we love the kindness.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/GTTUpod, the whole schlemiel, the whole shebang,
That's
Discord,
right.
the whole blingo, everything you said. You already said it all.
All that.
What
all
am I
that.
doing?
Also, you get ad-free episodes of Guides to the Unknown when you join the $4 tier or up, so you don't have to deal with any of this.
That's
No
right.
fast forwarding anymore.
That's also the gateway tier into Netherworld Dispatch.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's where you start getting those eps.
All right, everybody. One more commercial break. Lovely goods and services. It's around 4th of July. Presumably this will be ballpark franks and
Yeah. Fireworks.
they plump when you cook them. that tagline has stuck with me my whole life. They plump when you cook them.
Look, I know that's true, and I know that's technically a good thing, I guess, but I don't like to think about my food plumping.
Hun, I'm at the grocery store, but these hot dogs are not girthy enough.
Yeah, like...
Oh, they plump when you cook them, Ed.
Yeah, don't worry, Ed. They'll plump when you cook them.
They get a little extra girth when you cook them, Ed.
I get it, but I don't need it pointed out to me. That's not like a selling point.
Barf.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want them to plump when I cook them. Honestly,
I don't want anything.
I kind of just want a crispy hot dog. That's it. That's
I don't need anything to plump.
No, not at all. All right.
Unless it's a ghost plump. All
yeah,
right.
of course.
One more commercial break.
And then we move on. Okay, we're back.
So the end of I Know What You Did last summer.
Yeah.
It did occur to me there is something that I want to say about the book that I think was interesting. The whole methodology of sending a note that says I know.
Yeah.
It's spooky in the movie because it's threatening. And now you know that someone's like kind of coming for you and it puts you on edge and all that stuff. And it's like a psychological warfare.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
In the book, the bad guy is sending that note because he doesn't know for sure. He doesn't know that it was these kids. There's like a whole thing where he's like, I had to research. I knew that someone made a phone call.
Oh, so you're
and
in
then
his
I had
POV
to.
sometimes?
He explains. He like tells. He does like a villain monologue.
Okay.
He's like, I sent that first letter that said, I know what you did last summer to see what you would do.
Oh, okay.
Most people who haven't done anything would receive that note and be like, that's weird. But you, Jennifer Love Hewitt, you started flipping out and you immediately ran to Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Okay.
And then I was able to listen in on what you were doing.
Smart.
It was like, that was like his hunter thing. Of like, I'll send a note. And it did flip you out enough that it told me that that it was you, that you were the culprit.
Yeah.
That's very clever.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
That works. So, you know what I noticed in the movie? I think that Jennifer Love Hewitt, Julie James, is weirdly invigorated by this whole note thing. Because for the intervening year after they thought that they killed Ben Willis, everybody is saying, oh, you look like shit. You have horrible grades. You're doing badly. Like they show her at college with her roommate and her roommate is so mean. And she's like, you need to go get a tan on your pasty ass. You look disgusting. And then she goes home and her mom's like, honey, you don't look well. You look like shit. I just got your report card. It's terrible. This is all
thick, Mom.
This is all awful.
You don't look well. You look like shit.
Your report card sucks. Like her hair's all lank and shitty or whatever. And then it takes about one day after she gets the first I Know What You Did Last Summer note for her to get in a matching twin set that's cropped, boobs out, accessories on, hair washed.
Oh.
I think she's invigorated by this.
Now that's interesting. That's interesting.
Like there's like one day after it where she still is looking like, oh, I don't feel good, Julie James. And then boom, out we go.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't be an overnight thing. But something that I actually really like about Scream, you know, there are so few things that I like about Scream. I hardly talk about it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I really appreciate about Sidney Prescott is like she, like Julie James, is in a bad place in her life when that story starts. Yeah. 1 year prior, her mom was killed. And through the story, she almost like actualizes by going through this further hardship. It's almost like, it's like having a purpose to your life, right? Being in a depression, everything can feel purposeless. Being confronted with an antagonist, in these cases, masked killers. Yeah. It gives you something to fight for. Right. And in a way, in these stories, it makes you value your life a little bit more. And Sidney Prescott, I think, goes through this as a gradual process. Yes. Which I really appreciate about her character. I feel like that's a really strong portrayal of somebody who's like, I'm not going to take any shit. Not in my movie. I love that. What you just said about Julie James, I was starting to feel the same way, but you're right. It is like the next day. Yeah. She's like, I feel on top of the world.
She armors up, and her armor is a baby blue twin set.
Yeah, there's a little less nuance in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No, there certainly is. There certainly is.
But there is something about, like, also these characters who have been hiding a secret for a whole year, dreading that someday someone would find out or something. It would almost also be a breath of fresh air to be like, finally, I don't just have to like hide, I can confront.
Yeah, something is happening. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's totally
There's something to that. I don't know that it really bears out as a deep
I think it's a subtext.
In the book, they deal with that kind of... Again, I think like the book really does bring out other shades of the story that are very appealing, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the movie, everything feels very vapid.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's all very surface level.
Yeah.
She definitely is coming forward as a little bit of more of a main character and being like, no, this is what we have to do and this is why or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Really, Helen Shivers is the best.
I like her quite a bit.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's so great. I wish that she was going to be around for the new one.
I know. They... apparently the director of the new one had kept asking Sarah Michelle Gellar, like, will you please come back? She's like, I've been dead.
Right. How could that be?
I've been dead for 20 years.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It couldn't happen.
I don't know. I don't believe in the sanctity of...
Her and her armband. I love when we meet her again. Her hair's really long. She's got a big armband. She's smoking a ciggy. Also, Diet Coke culture is very big online right now. And I noticed that
not in my chat rooms.
People are loving their Diet Cokes. They're calling them fridge cigs because they're supposed to be bad for you. And I just wanted to note that Helen Shivers is a Diet Coke girly.
Fridge cigs.
Yep.
Where in the internet do you go?
I don't know. It's out there though.
I am not in those parts. What keyword do you use to get there? Interesting. Well, that's weird. That's a weird angle.
She goes and gets a Diet Coke, and I was like, oh, look at her. She's right on trend.
Fridge cig.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yep.
So the way that this all culminates is so funny to me when so Freddie Prinze Jr. has become sort of the red herring for a while. So much so that like he used a fake name to meet the sister of a guy who died, and it's a whole convolution of like, because remember the actual killer fisherman had killed someone the night that he himself got hit by a car.
Right.
Like that convolution is tricky, but that's why Freddie Prinze Jr. can be a red herring. But then the actual fisherman comes in and hits Freddie Prinze Jr. in the face.
Yeah.
And then turns to Jennifer Love Hewitt and goes, "Easy, child."
Keep saying child.
He talks like he's from the 1800s.
He says it twice. It feels like keeps, but he's like, "Easy, child." And then he's like, "Whoa there, child," later or whatever.
What is that doing here? Child.
I love it.
And then she goes into his little houseboat where he's got news articles about the hit and run, and you realize that he's a weirdo killer, and he had also sent a scary note to the guy he killed last year himself.
Yep.
Because he's the father of the girl that had been killed 2 years ago.
A moment for Anne Heche.
Jesus Christ.
Anne Heche is great in this.
I think she's... Well,
I think she's great. I love her. She's the scary sister of the dude that they think that they killed. And they visit her house a couple of times for clues. She's gutting fish.
I don't think I understand Anne Heche. How many fish does she need to prepare?
I absolutely. What is her job? Is this part of her job or something?
Her job is if the sun is out, she's standing outside cutting off fish heads on a wooden table.
I think it must be for work. I don't know if this is just for her.
Disturbing. Well, then why doesn't she live in the community?
I don't know.
Where fishing is the local industry. Like she seems to live like out in the sticks.
Yes, totally.
I thought she was cutting that fish for herself, but how much fish prep do you need to do? How many fish are going to eat this week?
All intents and purposes well, that's not the right, I'm not saying the right thing. It would seem because she's out there in the sticks that, it'd be for herself, but like there's so many. She must go into town to sell them or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. She also has like a turkey vulture or something hanging upside down at one point.
Yeah, you're right.
Not just a turkey, I don't think. Although I can't be sure.
I think that the Anne Heche character is a very uncomfortable caricature.
Yeah.
Of somebody who lives off the grid. She's perpetually dirty and covered in blood from all the fish that she keeps dismembering.
Well, I can't disagree with
that. And even when she's like, "Where are you going?" She's got like one arm kind of like crooked and like she just like stands scary. Do you know what I mean? Like everything about her portrayal is unwell. Yeah. She looks like she cut her own hair with her own fish cleaver. She made coleslaw on her own head.
Yeah, she does look
with her
like
own
she made
fish
coleslaw
chopper.
on her own head. But then she took that little haircut and she went to that movie with Harrison Ford with their love interests. Do you remember that? That's so weird to me.
She took that little haircut. What is that, like 6 days, 7 nights?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They seem like such an odd pairing to me.
They do. Yeah. They do. I find her scenes to be rough.
I like them.
She is a character in the book. But she's just like a fairly normal individual.
Yeah.
In the book. In the movie, it's like, what is going on?
No,
She's very close. This may not be fair.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me if this is unfair. You recently reminded me that in the most recent Friday the 13th movie, there's an uncomfortable hillbilly guy who looks at a mannequin. And
oh,
like,
right. Yes.
Remember when you took my virginity?
Yeah.
She's kind of that character.
Nah, I don't think so. Nah, she's not gross like that. No. She's not. No, that makes me want to absolutely
she's not
die.
That far.
She's somewhat far. That guy is like absolutely the worst.
Yes.
This is an uncomfortable caricature, you're right, that I unfortunately enjoy. Sorry everybody.
Yeah.
But and doesn't make me want to absolutely lose my mind like that guy does.
Fair enough. Well, again, to conclude this movie,
I find her somewhat sympathetic, and I'm like, what's going on with her?
I find her very frightening.
She is frightening.
She's scary to me.
Yeah. But also with a softness.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
When she's like, oh, when
he was sweet to me. We were sweet on each other for a minute. Like, what year is it? How are we talking about?
I know. When when Jennifer Love Hewitt confesses that she killed her brother, and she's just like, well, go on, get out of here or whatever. And then like a minute before that, she's like, well, he didn't just die. Something happened. She's like, well, yeah, he killed himself. I've got his note right here in my disgusting fish shed.
Yeah, everything is fish. This is my fish cabinet. There's the fish closet.
I like that.
But she brings out a note, what she believes is his suicide note, and it says, I know what you did last summer. She's just kind
of sweet and open.
Oh, no, it says,
this is just a rando. Yeah, it doesn't say.
It doesn't say I know what you did last summer. It says, like,
something like that.
I didn't forget, or I can't forget.
Right.
I won't forget. And that's from Big Bad Fisherman, who has been sending scary letters his whole life to people.
Yeah, he loves it.
He sent it to David Egan, her brother, saying, I won't forget that you killed my daughter 1 year ago.
Yep.
And she now has misconstrued that scary note as a suicide note.
Yep.
He can't forget what he did a year before. So
what's her name? Her real name isn't Sissy, is it? They refer to her as Sissy at one point, but they're just calling her like Sissy because it's his sister, right?
In the book, that's the case.
That
she's called Sissy because the little kid called her Sissy. So
okay, all right.
Sissy is a name.
No, I know this.
I don't know how much of an internal life I need this Anne Heche caricature to have.
I was just curious.
But the movie ends with it's bad.
The ending sucks. They're just fighting on a boat.
Yeah,
and
this was weird to me. So Ray's entire character, Freddie Prinze's entire character, is he works on the fishing docks and he's a fisher boy. He's a fish boy too.
Yeah.
And when Julie James is abducted by the evil fisherman and taken aboard his ship, they go sailing off on his ship. And Freddie Prinze is like, what do I do? What do I do? And he spots a tiny little boat. And he steals the tiny little boat to catch up to the big boat. He owns his own boat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do you have to steal that little boat?
I have no idea.
You have your own boat.
Are little boats faster?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so weird. Julie James is like trying to avoid the fisherman. The biggest I'm gonna overstate this.
Sure.
I'm gonna overstate this, but I thought of the phrase and I like it, so I'm gonna use it. The cardinal sin of this movie is that the fisherman is like besting both of them, and then he's gonna bring the hook down to slash at Julie James.
Yeah.
He brings his hand up and it gets caught in some ropes on his own boat that he didn't know were there.
Totally.
And he doesn't remove his hand from it. He looks at his hand trapped in these noodly ropes. And then Ray hits some button that makes the ropes grab him and hoist him into the sky.
Yeah, it's a boat button.
And then he hits the boat button, and now the fisherman rockets up, and his hand pops off at the top.
Yeah.
And then he starts dangling like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, it's like kind of in the camera.
Yeah, and then he like flies off the side of the ship. It is such a cartoony.
It's so goofy.
Conclusion of The Fisherman. There's something about watching a fella dangling upside down, waving his arms that just looks embarrassing to me. It doesn't.
Definitely.
It's not cool and collected for a bad guy.
It's undignified.
It's undignified. And then he's dumped into the side of the boat and he's gone.
Yeah, they just trust that he's gone.
They only find his hand and all the bodies he has stowed under the ship. I did like that.
I like that too.
I don't know why, like Michael Myers, he's collecting all these bodies.
I don't know.
But I like that.
I don't know. Maybe so he has more time to kill. If they don't find the bodies, then the people aren't going to be on the lookout or whatever for the killer.
Maybe. And then there's a little epilogue where everyone's acting as embarrassing and as stupid as they were in the beginning. Julie is back to, now that she's confronted the evil, she's giggly and goofy again.
Yeah, she and Ray are together again. They're on the phone.
Yeah, they're on the phone in this one. And then she finds a note, but it's actually to go to like a frat party or something. And then she sees written in fog on a mirror because she has to be wearing a towel.
Yep.
Did you know Jennifer Love Hewitt has boobs?
Oh,
these movies do.
If you didn't know in this one, you definitely know in the second one.
Oh my God. But so she sees it says, I still know on the mirror, which didn't make sense.
Right.
I still know. And then he bursts through the mirror. Boom.
Yeah.
And you're done with this first movie.
Totally. And then you move on to the second movie.
So I guess we're halfway through this episode. We're going to...
Uh-oh.
How is there this much to say about I Know What You Did Last Summer? A movie we've already talked about. I always had
faith in it.
I always have shit to say about these movies. Well, let's just do it.
Yeah,
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Yeah.
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Mm-hmm. This is on YouTube.
Yes.
Because no one cares for this movie.
You still have to rent it, though.
I didn't.
Really?
I sent you a link. Did you pay money?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably appropriate. I guess I technically pirated it, but it was just on YouTube for free. Oh. And I sent you a link to watch it.
Whatever. I don't know what's going on. I'm not at my best.
Yeah, Kristen's not operating at 100%. No. These movies probably didn't help.
No.
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is so horrible.
It's bad.
The premise,
it's quite bad.
Embarrassingly, it's like when
crazy.
It's like Saved by the Bell Hawaiian style or whatever.
Although that rules. I love Saved by the Bell Hawaiian style.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in years now.
I haven't seen it since it came out. I remember loving it. We had it on. We had like recorded it from TV, and I watched it about 1,000 times.
Totally. I did watch it as an adult. I remember Sarah and I watched it at the salon one day when nobody was there. It was great.
That does sound great. Actually, that sounds like a fun way to do that. Mm-hmm. I can't believe this movie.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. The premise is that that they've been lured to the Bahamas by the killer. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
The killer poses as a radio station calling them to be like, if you tell me what the capital of the Bahamas is, then you win a trip there.
Brazil. It's not the capital of the Bahamas, but capital of Brazil. And they go, Rio?
Yeah.
That's right, you did it. You win. So they win a weekend trip.
Yep. It's Brandy and Mekhi Phifer and Jennifer Love Hewitt and some guy. And then
Ray, kind of.
Yeah, Ray is pulling up the rear.
They argue on the phone, and he refuses to join her on the trip to the Bahamas.
It is so contrived. It's so terrible.
And then he has a lame friend who also still works on boats with him, and is like, "What are you doing? You got to be out of your gourd to be turning down that girl." And he goes, "Well, I have a little secret." And he reveals to his friend that he has an engagement ring. He's going to propose.
Right.
Well, then why'd you just argue with her and say that you're not going to come to the Bahamas, the perfect place to propose?
Absolutely. Ideal. And the guy is like, call her back. And Ray's just like, no, I guess. And just doesn't.
The friend goes, you know what you should do? You should go and surprise her.
Right. But like,
I will. And then fate intervenes because the bad guys are going to prevent him from going with a relatively interesting scene.
Yeah.
There's a car accident that Ray and his friend drive up to, and there's a body lying in the road.
By the way, they don't just drive up to it. If anybody should be a conscientious driver at this point, it's Ray. And they are singing, I think, Here I Go Again on My Own at the top of their lungs. Ray just keeps turning and looking at his friend for like 10 seconds at a time.
You're right.
While he is driving. I'm like, eyes on the road, you are right. Idiot.
You're totally right.
2 years ago, you hit a man.
And we still know.
Yeah, we still know.
What you did.
Dumb. Yeah.
But there's a body in the road dressed like the fisherman, which I like.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And he goes over to it, and it's a mannequin in the costume because this was a decoy.
Yeah.
The fisherman is back at the car and chops his friend through the neck.
Yes.
Similar to Max.
Yep.
And then basically like takes Ray out of commission so he can't get to the Bahamas, but he does survive this attack. That's okay, except the rest of the movie is now like the Bahamas adventure.
Well,
then Ray periodically being like, now I'm dark.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy a gun. I'm going to sell my engagement ring to buy a gun.
Yeah, I hate everything of Ray trying to get to the Bahamas. Yeah. Like, also, I really don't know, like, I know hardly anything about rings or diamonds or anything. I basically know from, like, The Housewives and The Valley, which is Housewives adjacent. So at one point they say the ring is a carat,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty big. And then he's selling the ring at a pawn shop for $300.
Yeah.
I know that pawn shops are going to screw you or whatever. That seems like insanely low.
I can't
for
pretend
a carat
that I know.
diamond?
Yeah, but like rings can be like there's like a
I know, like clarity or
20
whatever,
carat
I guess, right?
diamond or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? Like I think the joke is he got a 1 carat diamond because
really?
he
That's
works
shitty?
with fish. I think.
Okay.
I think that's
Okay.
the gag.
Okay.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've looked into diamonds.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, Al.
Okay. I see.
But
Carrot sounded good to me. I was like,
know
whoa.
it's a carrot.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
My
yeah, no,
engagement wasn't a diamond.
He instead gets a gun. He trades in his engagement ring for a gun.
Yeah.
That spoiler
good
alert.
thing, I guess.
Spoiler alert, when he comes to save the day,
Yeah.
it doesn't fire.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how she gets it to fire.
Ray sucks?
Yeah, no, Ray definitely sucks.
I guess that was a question. I don't know how I phrased it that way.
Yeah.
Is he a character? What is he?
I don't know. In this movie, he's like really a non-entity. Like it seems like they felt like they had to have him in here to have like connective tissue from the first movie to the second. But he's so incredibly ancillary. And I just found any part with Ray struggling to get to the Bahamas to be so boring or annoying. Because it is like Freddie Prinze Jr. just like being dark all of a sudden that I wish he just wasn't part of it.
I don't believe the dark Ray.
No.
He's Derek Zoolander.
I wish he was just there, if anything. I'd be fine with it if he just like went to the Bahamas with them. I do not like Will Benson. I don't buy him for a second. It's crazy to me that there's like an opening club scene and Brandy's like, Will's here looking fine. And it's just like some dork wearing a polo shirt in a club. And I'm like, she does not think he's looking fine. I'm sorry. He's a fine, normal looking person.
Right.
But you would not see that guy and be like, ooh, he's looking fine. Looking fine. He just looks like any guy on a college campus, but you just plopped him into like a sweaty club.
He's looking like a lot of other people I see all the time.
Yeah.
He's looking nondescript today.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Will Benson is the biggest contrivance of the entire movie.
Also.
Although.
Yeah.
Now, this movie is the first sequel and is therefore further disconnected from the one book.
Right.
But there is that character in the book who inserts himself into the lives of the people that he's stalking under the guise of being a boyfriend.
I was thinking that when you were saying it.
So arguably, Will Benson is the new analog to Bud,
Sure.
a.k.a. Collie, from the book. However, why, if you're like, well, why don't we use some of the stuff the book didn't use?
Yeah.
Which would be a fine impulse.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Let's use some stuff from the book that the first movie didn't use, I mean. Take that menacing. Remember how menacing that monologue of like, you don't know me.
Yeah.
You don't know what I do when you're not around me. You don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Why not have Will Benson have some little monologue like that, which makes Julie feel like she's being selfish, but is actually showing that this dude might be a maniac. Who did we bring on this vacation?
Yeah, totally.
Who did we bring here? But instead, he is this goo goo gaga, silly, lame guy who, when he reveals that he is the bad guy, one of the two bad guys, has one of the most embarrassing lines I've ever heard. He has several embarrassing lines all in a row.
Yeah.
He go because they reveal that, you didn't win this trip because you knew the capital of Brazil was Rio. Because Rio is not the capital of Brazil.
Right.
Spoiler alert, I didn't know this, but presumably a lot of people could watch this movie and go, what?
Yeah, right. Totally.
It's not the capital of Rio. It's Brasilia.
Yep.
But he then reveals that he was the voice of the radio DJ. Come on, Julie, what's your favorite radio station? And he like makes this goon face.
Yeah.
Like, oh. You're still not putting it together, Julie? Will Benson? Ben's son.
Oof.
It was right in front of her face.
The entire time.
He's actually the son of the killer, who, if you remember, 3 summers ago had a daughter who was killed. And if you paid attention the way that I did this time...
I guess it would be 2 summers, right?
No, because 2 summers ago was when Will Benson got hit by... Or it was when Ben Willis got hit by a car.
Yes. Okay.
3 summers ago...
Yes. The
Ben
girl.
Willis's daughter was killed.
Yeah.
They show her obituary or something in the first movie, and it says that she's survived by her father.
Yeah.
No mention of her brother, because nobody had any plans. But it's like, why is Will Benson working with his dad to kill? Is it now just revenge for them failing to kill Ben Willis twice?
Yes.
But that's enough.
I think just still pissed.
He's
actually.
crazy. He's crazier than his dad.
pretty much. And also,
why didn't he help his dad 1 year ago?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Also,
in the intervening year,
yeah.
his dad was like, would you help me? It was really hard. It turned out to be harder.
Yeah, I guess because he failed.
It turned out to be harder than I thought.
Actually, it turns out that I need help.
Yeah.
So if Will Benson is Ben Willis's son, that would make him Will Willis.
Well, interesting.
What are they thinking?
That's a good question, too.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know what you did last summer. What were they thinking?
I understand that Will is a fake name.
Right.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, but it's irritating to me, too, that Ben Willis is the man's name, and then his son becomes Will Benson. And the Ben son thing is very irritating, obviously.
Yeah.
But his name is a perfect inversion otherwise of the killer's name, and no one did notice that.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, who's expecting wordplay in a person's name that you meet?
Absolutely.
But it is just...
Yeah. I mean, look, none of us did notice until he said it. So you know what?
Goddamn mess.
So you know what? They got us. None of us knew until the big reveal.
How do you feel about Julie James in this movie?
She is so obtrusively Jennifer Love Hewitt in this movie rather than Julie James.
Is she an actress?
Yeah. So I think that she became insanely famous from I Know What You Did Last Summer. From my knowledge, I think this was also when she was dating Carson Daly in real life. Like, I just remember Jennifer Love Hewitt being a thing. And I think that this was like very much the Jennifer Love Hewitt show. She also had a CD out at the time. There was a needle drop of one of her songs.
How do I deal with you?
Yep. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, they were just making sure to get her people were making sure to get the most bang for their buck from this movie. Like, make her look as hot as possible, get her song in here, get her singing in here.
Now, this movie stinks.
Yeah.
But the ego story around Jennifer Love Hewitt and like using this movie to further her image or something, it like tanks it even harder.
Yeah,
which elevates it in 2025 and for a good long time to be like, wow, look at this thing.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's like a scheme. It's like this isn't so much a movie as it is.
It's like people conspired to make a movie that elevates Jennifer Love Hewitt.
It's like a manovering kind of thing. Or it's like her album, her song will be on the soundtrack. We'll sell that. And that'll get exposure, but also you probably have to pay her second time to license her own song for her own movie.
Right.
And then also there's this horrible karaoke scene.
Yeah. It's so annoying.
I cannot overstate how irritating the karaoke scene is.
Absolutely.
Brandy going... there's a bartender who goes, everyone's a singer about karaoke, and it's Brandy and Jennifer Love Hewitt, which I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Half of this cast are singers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kind of amusing.
Absolutely.
But Brandy being like, come on, you've got to sing.
And to not have Brandy sing?
Right. Yeah.
Ugh.
But Jennifer Love Hewitt's acting, the false modesty.
Oh, totally. Like, stop.
Don't make me sing.
Yeah.
Don't make me sing. And then she sings like an angel.
Totally. It's unbelievably irritating.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be like one of the top annoying movies from any movie.
Yeah.
It's up there with like Julie Hewitt. Wait.
You'll get there.
What's her name in Ocean's 12?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
Yes.
When they're like, you know who she looks like?
Totally.
No. You know who she looks like? No.
I find this more annoying.
Julia Roberts plays a character who looks like Julia Roberts and then has to masquerade as the real Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt refusing to sing karaoke until she sings it really nicely.
Yeah. It's so annoying. Absolutely.
It's infuriating.
And by the way...
And her name is Julie James, which is from the book, but it's just like... There's not a semblance of reality in this story at all. Like this, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. It can't be viewed as like a real story with real people. It is like a cartoon world. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And by the way, I have come to really like Jennifer Love Hewitt. I want to see her in things. What? Have you not seen Can't Hardly Wait?
No, wasn't that also like 30 years ago?
Yes,
You've
William,
come
I'm
to
old.
like her. It's 2025. What changed? What changed recently?
Look, like, well, I wouldn't even say it changed recently.
I thought you were going for a high five.
Oh, I'll take it. No, I like I said, I kind of like love to hate her in these. I genuinely like to see her show up in things when she shows up in things in a not love to hate sort of way. I'm looking forward to seeing her in this new one, which looks like it sucks, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I like knowing that she's out there on the show 911. What else have I seen?
Like knowing she's out there.
I just like
Where would
her.
she be?
I don't know.
Of course she's out there.
I like knowing she's out there. She's part of the fabric of America.
4th of July.
She is. I like her. I care about her. But she's unbelievably annoying in this. I guess I don't like when things are pushed down my throat. And that's what's happening here.
It's so horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
They have a repeated "What are you waiting for?" moment.
Oh, I know. It's brutal.
And then in the trailer she says, "What are you waiting for?" But she says it quiet. What are you waiting for?
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
I told you my theory, right?
Yeah.
She's not saying it to the bad guy,
yes,
which she does in the first two. What are you waiting for, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
in the trailer, she goes, "What are you waiting for?" I think she's saying it to Ray.
Yeah.
Who is still not letting his life. He's still not facing his love for her. If you want me back, all you have to do is ask, "What are you waiting for?"
Yeah, I think that makes total sense.
Right?
Yeah, totally. It also didn't even occur to me that she'd be saying it to the bad guy.
Because how involved can she really be in the next story?
I don't think she probably is. I think it's a little pop-in here and there.
Yeah. How involved will Ray be? Will Ray die?
Same.
Should Ray die?
They're
treating Ray like Dewey.
I feel like it's so meh. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of neither here nor there.
I agree.
So,
yeah.
Doesn't really matter.
No.
Yeah.
Whether he lives or dies is irrelevant.
Yes, basically. I feel like he's just going to show up for that town meeting or whatever that they have in the trailer.
Okay, Ray.
Yeah, and like, a couple other scenes or whatever. I just don't see him like being that important to the story that it would even be a moment to kill Ray. So I kind of don't think so.
Yeah, maybe you're right. He's that irrelevant.
Kind of. I'll look forward to seeing him. I'm more looking forward to seeing Julie James, but I'll look forward to seeing Ray too. I like little jolts of like, I know them.
Do you know his last name?
At all. Ray, no.
No one does.
Yeah.
His name is Ray Bronson.
Okay.
No one cares.
All right. Fine name, I suppose.
Pointless. I know. It's a little funny.
Yeah, it is
little funny. It's
Ray
from the book
Bronson.
too. Ray Bronson. Something weird about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so they go to this abandoned. Well, it's the wrong season. They're there for hurricane season at this otherwise beautiful, like island resort, which I think is a fun premise, right? Like the killer lured you here under the auspices of you get this amazing Bahamas weekend.
I do like a fun location change. It's a little corny, but that's okay.
But I'm actually relatively okay with that. I'm less okay with like Brandy and Julie James jumping up and down on the couch like Tom Cruise giggling about winning the.
Me too.
Watching Jennifer Love Hewitt be chummy and giggling is one of the worst experiences you can have at the movies.
It's really annoying. It's really annoying.
But so they get to this resort as everyone's leaving, and there are only a handful of staff staying behind. It's like The Shining.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Except like they don't use the location well at all. It's so weird to like go here and have a whole resort, but like not shoot it in a fun way or anything.
Not really. There's some good overhead. I guess I don't know if they do okay. There are like some good overhead shots where you can like get the lay of the land somewhat.
I wanted
Brandy
to feel
falls on that like glass roof of a greenhouse.
That's okay. I wanted to feel like cavernously empty though.
Yeah,
You're
right.
Like think about The Shining to compare. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer to The Shining, to a Stanley Kubrick, one of the greatest films of all time. But it's like you're in an abandoned location. Shouldn't it feel like tremendously empty? But they're still just like, they go to the bar. There's a bartender. They sit down. It's like they just couldn't afford to hire extras.
Right.
Like there's not a ton that says
is the
like
point that no one else
we're
is
stranded.
Here.
It doesn't.
You know what I
They
mean?
don't
because it's like off season.
It doesn't feel remote. It feels like a small cast in a small movie.
Yeah.
To me.
No, it does.
It
does.
They've got the scary man from The Frighteners.
Yep.
Reanimator man.
Yeah, I don't like that guy.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Jeffrey Combs.
Oh yeah.
I do like him.
Yeah.
I think his like menacing sort of he detests everyone he speaks to and everything. I enjoy that fine.
Yeah.
There's a voodoo man.
Yep.
Who's trying to do voodoo.
Estes,
and they think that he is doing mean voodoo. It turns out he's doing nice voodoo.
Yep, exactly. Protective.
Protect voodoo, because he knows that Brasilia is the capital, so he knows that they're here for no good reason at all.
Right.
Jack Black, who's got the cream jeans.
Got the bat guano. It doesn't make sense that the killer, why are they just killing everyone indiscriminately? You know what I mean? Like in the first movie, he's killing exactly the kids who are responsible for, trying to kill him previously or whatever.
And only other people who get in his way.
Right.
Like I think he killed Max because Max was also there that night, and maybe he doesn't know that Max wasn't involved.
That's true.
Or to use Max as a red herring for himself. He kills the cop because the cop's in his way of getting to Sarah Michelle Gellar.
No, he's just killing people for no reason.
For fun, because it's a scary movie.
Yeah.
Why does he kill Jack Black?
No reason. He comes upon him. He enters his domain where he's smoking, and then he just kills him. He just stabs him in the hand with a hook. And then kills him.
It's one of these horrible horror movie scenes where a person is smoking weed and talking to themselves. Where are you, my lovely? And they like pick up a bong. It's like, anyone actually talk like this in real life? Any stoners in real life? Stoners out there, hit me up. Do you talk to your bong when you're alone and call it your precious and shit? And is this something that I'm not aware of?
It's so funny.
I'm sorry, I'm not in the culture. This is the stuff that would also like, listen, I've smoked weed a handful of times in my life. Mm-hmm. I think the stoner culture of like, look at my rig. And it's like some super bong thing. That's what keeps me away more than anything else. You know what I mean?
It's so funny.
Jack Black.
Yeah.
What's going on? What are your thoughts on?
Honestly, funny. Funny. Wall to wall, great. Happy to see him.
If he had not become super famous, this would be a performance that you'd watch and be like, who was that guy?
Yeah, totally. They're like, whoa.
What was that guy's story?
They just strolled in and lit up. Everything he does is crazy. They show him walking away and he's like tiptoeing, basically like grapevining out of the scene.
He's doing everything you think of Jack Black as doing. But God. He was so not known at this time that Scary Movie referred to him as that fat white Jamaican motherfucker. Like no one knew that this was like a superstar.
A star is born.
I got the bat guano. I got the cream jeans.
Yeah. Like
what?
Okay.
That's in the finished cut?
Who are you, sir?
Who is that? And some executive standing behind the camera watching the dailies.
He's a lecturer. They're trying to push
incredible.
Jennifer Love Hewitt on us.
Yeah.
When this guy
How do you have a karaoke scene in a Jack Black movie?
Oh my God, you're so right. What wasted potential.
Yeah.
He should have just hip checked her out of the way and taken
Come on,
over.
yeah. Just taking the microphone.
Oh my God. He's incredible.
What a crime. What a crime against humanity.
And I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, remember, I still know what you did last summer, Jack Black and dreads, whatever. No, you should be Jack Black in dreads.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
In this dour movie, even when he's being killed, this is crazy that this is even in the final cut.
Yeah.
But like the killer grabs, garden shears and Jack Black goes, "No, seriously, don't do that."
I know. Don't do that.
Don't do that. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Person who's killing me. Don't do that.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Yeah. It's great.
It's in the finished movie. Mm-hmm. They finished the movie and left all those things in. Someone knew something.
Why not?
Someone still knows something.
Absolutely.
There is this overarching to get to the end of this movie. Mm-hmm. There is this overarching. Why is he killing all the staff? Because now they're arguably trying to fill in some Ben Willis lore.
Yeah, but
he worked on this island. He lived on this resort island with his wife.
Yes.
And he was abusive and a monster.
Yes.
And so he is an urban legend on this island. He's sort of come home.
Right. But why does that mean he has to kill everybody randomly?
What? Because only because now they are creating like episode one. Mm-hmm. The first movie is like urban legend hook hand killer, getting revenge. Okay. Yeah. Now in the sequel, they're like, oh, even bigger. He was already an urban legend man.
Yeah.
It's not even just a coincidence that these kids were talking about a hook hand killer and he heard them say that. he is an urban legend for us at this resort community. Do not stay in the honeymoon suite.
Yeah.
Right? That's the Ben Willis murder suite or whatever. He killed his wife.
Right.
It's like, really? He was already an urban legend before the kids in the first movie coincidentally talked about an urban legend around him?
This guy's just got it.
And so much so that his wife's grave is on this island?
Yeah.
How likely is that there's like a produced headstone, like a chiseled headstone for his wife and daughter, and then he scrawled Julie James's name. Why Julie?
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Because they got her there, I guess they just have Julie and Ray to go after, and they got Julie there.
It's horrible.
No, it's terrible. It's so stupid.
Like, this is not a story that needs repetition, which is why I am shocked by the requel. Like, we know that I Know What You Did Last Summer is coming back because of Scream and Halloween and all these other like requel kind of like legacy sequel, bring back some of the characters, whatever thing.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to find out how they justify someone else dressing up like the fisherman and using the hook, and these kids who now seem to have, according to the trailer, gotten into another car accident. It just has to be
the exact same
on
thing.
The winding roads at night.
Yeah.
And have now hidden it for yet another year.
Yes. And somebody's just repeating.
It didn't work.
But again, I do want to watch that.
It barely worked for one movie.
Disagree.
It didn't work for two movies.
Agree.
How is it going to work for 30 years later, another one?
I don't know.
What skills did Ray get from these first two movies that make him valuable and helpful 30 years later?
I'm very curious to find out. I don't know.
He bought a gun 30 years ago.
He bought a gun that he couldn't figure out how to shoot.
And it wouldn't go bang when he pointed it at the bad guy.
Right. So Julie James grabbed it.
And then it did go. Then it did work.
He splooshed into that grave in an insane way. Did you notice that? Yeah. I guess because of the rain, there was a lot of mud. He just sunk directly into it.
Yeah. There's also something weird about like, there's like, I couldn't tell. There's almost like a jump cut, like when he first hits the mud.
Yep, totally.
It's like they all of a sudden just snap to a different shot where he's further in the mud than he would have been.
Yes.
It's very strange.
It's silly.
And then he just sinks in the mud.
Yeah.
The mud covers his face. Ben Willis accidentally kills his own son. He kills Will Benson, Ben's son.
Yeah.
Because he's going to swipe at Julie and she moves and the hook goes into his son's chest. I kind of enjoy that.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
These violent delights.
Right. Lead to violent ends.
Yes. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then the epilogue.
Oh my God.
So Julie shoots the fisherman.
Yeah.
And the fisherman dies.
Yes, so they're free. And then Ray, what was his bit of business in this,
This has
by
to
the
be
way?
one of the worst things that has ever been.
This? It was so weird. So they like live in a house together now. Ray is enjoying his electric toothbrush, like really enjoying it. He's like, I'm loving this thing.
He is brushing his teeth.
He says that. Well,
yes.
something like that.
He literally has a line where he goes, I love this thing.
Yeah.
While he's brushing his teeth.
Mm-hmm. And Julie is like, I just locked the door and
Ray.
or whatever.
She's back to kind of giggly. Like any time that they go through the madness, she returns to being artificially pleased and chummy.
Yeah. And then, she senses a disturbance in the force or whatever. And then Ben Willis pops out from under their bed and grabs her ankles and pulls her under. And she's like scrabbling for purchase. And then it ends. So that's going to end up being like another dream or something.
They're not going to reference it.
Yeah, probably not.
Why bother?
Yeah,
or she'll be like, I've had nightmares ever since them troubles.
I read an interview with, honestly, I don't even know if I remembered to put this in the show notes. I'll try to remember. But I think I was just like Googling and I found an interview with somebody who worked on the third movie who was like, we just decided to stay in keeping with the first one where, you know, something happened at the end where Julie was captured. And then we just kind of like went to the second one. The same thing's going to happen. She's fine in the third one and whatever.
Now, I want to also say, I believe that there's probably a way to make any concept good.
Definitely.
Right?
I think so, yeah.
Given the ingredients that this team has been given, you're being charged with making a fourth, I Know What You Did Last Summer movie.
Right.
How are you going to do it? You can make really good choices and probably make that good. But I think that you've got like a bunch of weights tied to you.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious to see what happens in that new movie. I think that, it's it's already hobbled because these movies kind of stink.
Or does it have a perfect place to fly from? So did you end up watching the third one?
No.
Okay.
Which thank God, because you want to sit
There
here.
is a third.
You want to sit here for another hour while I tell you about I'll always know what you did last summer. I'll watch it before the new movie.
Okay.
I'll give you my truncated thoughts on I'll always know, perhaps, when we cover the requel, the new movie.
Great.
I do know that it goes in a supernatural direction.
I do too. I've never seen it.
In that capacity, I find I Know What You Did Last Summer to be quite comparable to the urban legend film series.
Yep.
Realistic movie, kind of worse, but also realistic sequel. Supernatural third movie that went direct to video and no one talks about.
Yes.
And reportedly, the urban legend movie is also due for a requel.
I know.
Or a reboot. Who knows what it'll be.
Yes.
So these are the lockstep Scream knockoffs. They do the same thing rhythmically as each other.
Yep.
But
I'll take it.
Yeah, my understanding in the third movie, I'll always know what you did last summer, which arguably, even though it's still not last summer.
Yes, but it feels a little bit.
Although it's with a new group of characters, so it is what they did last summer, so that's okay.
Right.
And I'll always know is
It
rough.
almost feels like last summer is its own entity now at this point. Like last summer means the summer of 97.
Yeah, the only ingredients you need are like I know and summer. I know summer 3.
Yeah. Totally.
Anytime you work in how long it's been since the events, which summer,
right,
or how much someone knows, how much someone persists in knowing, that's where it gets messy. So I don't know what you call this franchise. It doesn't work. Why couldn't it just? Why couldn't it just be I Know What You Did Last Summer Part 2?
I know. I don't know.
Just call it that.
They messed up.
You still have the problem of it.
I still know. I guess they probably just did it because the mirror said I still know.
Well, imagine the following with me. What if I know what if I still know what you did last summer, the second movie? What if it took place 2 weeks later?
Okay.
And they went a trip to the Bahamas.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know why if I'm changing things, they still go to the Bahamas.
Well,
but they do.
But just timeline wise, name wise, it would make
still
more
last
sense.
summer.
Right.
And he survived that killing, and now he's back.
He would have healed up real fast.
All he did was get his hand popped off and fell in the water.
Yeah,
from a dangling state.
I feel like losing an appendage like that is really going to slow you down.
He had 2 weeks in the hospital.
Yeah.
No one knew who he was. They patched up his arm. It's still bloody.
Yeah.
What if it's still bloody and it's covered in the gauze? Sure. And then at some point in the movie, he jabs the hook into the stump.
Ugh.
Right? And now he's like Candyman. He's got hook in stump.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's the sequel. It still was last summer.
Right.
He's just not done killing yet.
Yeah, sure.
It might not be good, but it might be better than I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which takes place 2 years after the summer where they did something wrong and they go to Rio.
Yeah, no, I think that could be. Okay. I think that could be.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, you make a choice.
Yeah.
You're saddled by what it is.
Yeah.
You've got a barnacle. You've got an anchor.
Totally.
To use the fisherman thing. You've got anchors hanging from you because this concept is already kind of not great for sequelizing.
Yeah, definitely.
But what choices can you make to make it less bad?
Totally. I know. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
I know.
So there you go. Those are our thoughts on I Know What You Did Last Summer, the current continuity, the original continuity, the book where it started, that first movie that a lot of people seem to like, that second movie that I seem to like more than you. as much as I've damned that movie, I get more out of that second movie than I do out of that first movie.
Okay.
I appreciate the Kevin Williamson thought process of that first movie.
Yeah.
But that second movie, woof.
Feel like it really takes off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie is
really sings.
Really stinks.
Yeah.
It really reeks. And I'm like a dog when a dog finds that like bad smell in the yard and they start rolling in it.
Yeah.
That's me with the second I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. I'm wiggling on my back.
Just loving it.
So we'll come back in the future to
to
talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025.
Looking forward to it.
Sure.
I'll be there in the theater with my popcorn.
I like going to the theater.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yes.
Please, if you enjoyed this episode, if you got something out of it, consider going to patreon.com/GTTUpod. If you support us, you get access to the Netherworld Dispatch, which is probably where we are going to do that show. We tend to do all new releases over there. And thank you so much to everybody who already backs us. Hop in that Discord, share your thoughts of the I Know Summer series with us. It's very fun to talk about. And follow us online as well.
Yep. I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at The Myth Traveler.
And I want to mention, next week, we are going to be covering season 4 of Dexter.
That's true.
So if you're interested, you could watch that.
The Trinity Killer.
That's right. That's right. Because the new
arc.
Dexter show comes out next week. So we thought it'd be fun to do that coinciding.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So yeah, poke around in that. Have fun. We'll talk about a weirdo killer with another weirdo MO next week.
Yep.
And follow at GTTUpod to keep up to date with everything we're posting. At The Trouble with Tessa for a fun, spooky ARG connected to the show coming on July 15th to Screambox. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all. We'll see you next week for the Trinity Killer, but until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the Netherworld go we. See you soon.
Back to Southport? What's it called?
I think it might be Southport.
I'm thrilled to come back to Southport. I like the fishing community angle. I think that it is like a good place for like kind of like a gnarliness.
You love
some
this.
rough hand people.
You love it. You love I Know What You Did Last Summer. Despite
everything.
Despite all the ballyhoo.
Despite how good it is.
Despite everything you say to the contrary.
Despite its quality.
You love it.
Despite the quality of the film. I like it. I guess that's true. What a weird way to compliment it.